I want to share with you an insanely helpful health hack that I learned during my own chronic fatigue syndrome or ME/CFS recovery. It's a 5 minutes to better health strategy that comes from Dr. Rangan Chatterjee. He's an influential doctor out of the UK. I first became aware of him on the Broken Brain podcast, which is done by Drew Perowit. And Dr. Chatterjee is also the author of the book, Feel Better in 5. So this is a great podcast and a great book. And if you're interested in either, they will be linked in this video description. So Dr. Chatterjee shows his patients and people through his book how to transform their health in just 5-minute chunks of time per day. And I find that this is an especially good strategy for chronic fatigue syndrome or ME/CFS because we often have such low energy reserves and doing things in larger chunks can be incredibly challenging. So an approach that allows us to build a foundation for health into our lives in such small chunks can be really, really effective. And the reality is that whether you have ME/CFS or not, we need to make things easy so that we'll stick with them. I think when we think about behavior change, we tend to think that it needs to be really hard or really big, and it's going to require a lot of motivation. So I'm going to overnight become a vegan or start meditating 2 hours per day. It's got to be this big, hard thing that requires a lot of motivation. But the reality is that motivation comes and goes. The motivation that we have on a Monday is not necessarily the motivation that we have on a Thursday. But the premise of Dr. Chatterjee's approach is that we will still do a behavior if it's easy to do, even on those days when our motivation is low. So he insists that it's about starting small and then thinking specifically about where these habits take place during your day. So Dr. Chatterjee has his patients do what he calls 5-minute health snacks. And he recommends health snacks for 3 areas in your life every single day. And these 3 areas are mind, body, and heart. And by addressing these 3 things in a small way, consistently, every single day, it has a dramatic ripple effect that transforms your health and your happiness. All right, so let's look at the first of the 3, mind. So every single day, he recommends that you do a 5-minute health snack for your mind. So what does that mean? A health snack for your mind is anything that you do to bring your mind some peace. In this very loud and very busy and very connected world, it's good to take a few minutes every single day that you dedicate just to giving your mind some quiet time, to disconnecting and unplugging and doing something to calm your mind and bring it some peace. So this could be a whole variety of things. This could be meditation. This could just be sitting quietly with your eyes closed and sitting in quiet contemplation. This could be listening to a soothing, calming song and closing your eyes and turning off all the other devices and just laying back and allowing it to relax you. It could be something like an adult coloring book and sitting down for 5 minutes per day and using this adult coloring book. I know that in my experience, doing artsy, creative type things is very therapeutic and very much like meditation because I get so lost in what I'm doing that I forget about everything else in my life. Nothing else matters in that moment. The stress, the worries, everything else just goes away because I am so lost in the moment of what I'm doing, whatever it is that I'm working on. And Dr. Chatterjee suggests to make this feasible and doable and consistent in your life that you habit stack it. So you stack this on to something else that already exists in your life. So this could be perhaps every morning you make yourself a cup of tea. So when you put the kettle on, that's your cue to sit down with your adult coloring book, which you keep right beside your kettle so you don't forget, and you do 5 minutes of coloring while you wait for the kettle to finish. It's about making things easy and doable and realistic, because if they're too big and they're too hard, chances are we won't stick with them or we won't even start them. All right, so the second one. So we've done mind, so now we're on to body. So we need a 5-minute health snack every single day for our body. Now, what Dr. Chatterjee recommends is 5 minutes of movement or exercise of some sort every single day. Now, I know that with chronic fatigue syndrome or ME/CFS, 5 minutes of exercise per day is not feasible for a lot of people, but perhaps 5 seconds of movement is feasible for you. Now, I don't know what is safe or healthy for anybody else. So of course, use your own judgment and make sure you are taking the necessary precautions to ensure you're not doing anything that's going to make you feel worse. But I know that in my experience that making sure to dedicate some time and have a system to incorporate movement into my day every single day was incredibly, incredibly important in my recovery system. Because just laying around and doing nothing and not getting things moving in my body, such as my lymphatic system, it really wasn't supporting me recovering. So I had to find ways to incorporate movement into my day every single day. So if it's possible, if it's safe for you, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 seconds, perhaps there's a way that you could, again, habit stack this, attach it to an existing part of your routine, and incorporate some movement. So maybe every day when you first get up, you get in the habit of doing just a couple really simple stretches. Whatever it is that you can manage or you think is safe for you. All right, so we've done mind, we've done body, so the third one is heart. And when Dr. Chatterjee talks about health snacks for your heart, he's not talking about heart in the literal sense, like your cardiovascular health or looking at your blood pressure or cholesterol or anything like that. He's talking about connection. He's talking about the importance of human connection for health and happiness in life. Because I think most of us have come to appreciate how toxic things like loneliness can be, whether you're healthy or sick or whatever state you're in. But especially when you're trying to recover from chronic illness, I know I've definitely found that I had to find ways to incorporate some sort of connection with other people in my life every single day to keep that loneliness at bay and to keep my mental health strong. So this is about 5 minutes of intentional time every single day with somebody else. No devices, nothing else, no one's on their phone, not watching TV together, but just time together, concentrating on your time spent with one another. Dr. Chatterjee suggests tacking something onto this, like having a cup of tea with it or doing something to make it feel more special. And 5 minutes isn't set in stone. It's not like you have to set a timer. It's going to depend on the day. Some days it might be 5 minutes, some days it might be 30 minutes. Some days your body might be tired or your body might be struggling. So you will say to your friend, whoever it is that you're spending that time with, that we're really going to need to keep it to 5 minutes today because this is all that I can manage. And then other days you might find that you're sitting longer. And if you live alone and you don't have someone that you can do this with every day, perhaps there's an online way to do this. You can alternate between friends. Maybe you have a set schedule with certain people. Tuesdays and Thursdays, you have a 5-minute date at 10 a.m. with whoever that might be. And you'll notice that I said, my body is struggling, my body is tired. This is another hack that I've found when recovering from illness, is to be very careful about the vocabulary that I use about my illness. So I will say that, oh, my body is tired today, or my body is really struggling today, so I can't do that, as opposed to, I'm struggling today. Now, I know there's definitely a mind-body connection, and we need to appreciate that, but I also had to appreciate the separateness of it as well, that I am not my body. So if my body is struggling, if my body is tired, it does not mean that I am struggling. And I still do this to this day. You know, I might say, oh, my body is tired. I just ran 5 miles, so I'm going to need to take a rest. Instead of saying, I'm tired, making it my identity. I found vocabulary and word usage with recovery to be incredibly powerful. And for most of us, health happens slowly over time, and one small action can have a really powerful ripple effect on the rest of our lives. You know, for many of us, recovery comes as an accumulation of small habits built over time. And by putting in this foundation every single day, this core structure that ensures that we address every single day our mind, our body, our heart, it is a really good foundation for healing. Now, I'm not saying that these things on their own are necessarily going to get you to 100% recovery from ME/CFS, but I think it's an excellent place to start. And more we're appreciating how much we need to keep our body in a healing state. We need to keep our stress response down, and that these things are actually really important. You know, when we're not taking care of our mind and our body and our heart, and our body is flooded with cortisol and adrenaline and all these other stress hormones, our body is not in a state where it can heal. So when every day we ensure that we get ourselves into this state, we're setting ourselves up to be in a place so that everything else we're doing to recover actually has a chance of working. You know, sometimes I think our biggest barrier to recovery is believing that these seemingly simple things can have a tremendous impact on our health. It's about adding on little things over time, every single day, small increments, small improvements that compound and over time get you closer and closer to your goal. And with this new health snacks habit, Dr. Chatterjee recommends that you find a way to have a physical reminder of everything that you're doing. So one thing that you can do is get a mason jar and some beans, and every single time you do one of these health snacks, you put a bean in the jar. And then you have got a physical reminder every single day of how hard you're working. So if you're feeling at all down on yourself, if you're feeling at all like you aren't able to do much to take care of yourself, you can just glance over at that physical reminder, whether it be jar of beans or a chart with some check boxes that you check off every time you do it, and you see you have this confirmation that you are in fact doing things and you are working hard and you are getting somewhere. It's a visual reminder that you have that clearly shows you how much you've been doing. And if you're looking for more examples of health snacks for mind, body, and heart, in Dr. Chatterjee's book, Feel Better in 5, he has a ton more examples and ideas to get you going. And the last thing I just want to say is that you need to take action on this for it to work. Having the information on its own actually doesn't get us anywhere. And I can be really bad for this. I'll watch videos, I'll read books, and I'll just think I'm doing really well because I'm learning so much. But learning this stuff on its own is not getting me anywhere. We need to take action. We need to do something. And something that I learned from another great book called The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins is that our attention span is incredibly short. So if there's something we want to do, we have to take action on it within 5 seconds of thinking about it, because our attention span right now, us humans, is actually shorter than a goldfish. So if you just watch this video, perhaps enjoy it and then move on with the rest of your day, you're not going to get the health benefits out of it that you could if you'd actually done something to implement it. So what I invite you to do is, within 5 seconds of this video ending, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, count in your head, get up and do something that will put this plan into action, whether it's writing yourself a note, health snacks, or it's getting out a jar or a glass or some beans and putting it on your kitchen counter. And that will be your visual reminder that, oh, that's right, I've got to get that system in place. Or maybe it's going on Amazon right after this and ordering the book. But whatever it is, do something, put it into action so all this information doesn't go to waste. And if you've enjoyed this video and you're looking for more health recovery strategies or healing and happiness hacks, just click on the link on the video and it will take you to a playlist with more videos just like this one. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found something in here useful. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, share it with others, and don't forget, within 5 seconds, to take action on this so you can put all this to use.